So we need to talk about Klingons and music. So if you haven't seen the latest episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, that being Subspace Rhapsody, go and see it. But I do need to talk about this. It's a fascinating subject. My review of it will be linked in the cards and also in the description and in the comment section, so check my review out as well. I did briefly touch on this subject in my review, but I thought it deserved its own video. So, Klingons and music. We know Klingons do like music. I mean, we get plenty of reference to Klingon operas, especially with Worf and his love for them, to the point he moves his quarters on board the Defiant in Deep Space Nine, so he can listen to them full blast without annoying anyone else on the station. So we know Klingon ballads are operas very respected and enjoyed by Klingons. So Worf is the ideal Klingon, probably because he learned about Klingons from a textbook. But regardless, I did make a little sip and say ballads, and I do think ballads are another important aspect of Klingon culture. Because a ballad in many ways is a song that is telling a story. Not always, but generally I would consider that to be. And that actually I think covers what a lot of Klingon music is. Songs that tell a story. So take a look at Klingon operas. Even in the real world, we're going to look at what an opera is. Operas tell a story through music, nearly entirely music. Musicals don't always do it because there's no sometimes spoken sections with the music being reserved for those big moments, those showstoppers. Not always showstoppers, but the point being the big moments carrying a lot of emotion. Well, my understanding of opera says there's just everything is sung, everything is told through music, through the story of the music and all that. Again, I'm not the expert on this stuff, but that's my layman understanding of it. So we ought to establish Klingons definitely seem to enjoy opera. They have their own form of opera. Okay, what about sailor songs, sea shanties? I definitely think so. I mean, I think it was the episode with Tarwin, but the episode where Tarwin is introduced in Deep Space Nine. There's a point Worf tries to get them to sing basically the Klingon equivalent of a sea shanty, a working song, and doesn't really work until the end of the episode. But we see that pop up every now and then, Klingons singing while flying their ship. So definitely seems like those kinds of music, which I'm going to presume tell stories of important Klingon battles and moments in their history, is probably pretty common, especially because in the episode, I think it was the two-parter, where Worf and Garak are captured by the Dominion, sent to a Dominion prison camp that has General Martok, has Imna Brentane, Julian Bashir, a Romulan and a Breen, and some other characters. The Romulan is the one we get of the newly introduced characters we get probably the most development of, but regardless, that's kind of sidetracked. But that's another example of Klingons making reference to music telling stories for them. Well, Martok mentions he will commission a song telling of their deeds in basically fighting the Dominion the best they could while being prisoners and their inevitable escape with, and this is something to note, with with Garrett making the mention that a voice of the Cardassian who basically hid away due to claustrophobia, ruining the general song. I think there is definitely some reference there, and some perhaps insight into Klingon culture. Because music is a big part of culture, and we gotta look into what Klingon culture is to understand why them singing K-pop in Subspace Rhapsody was a dishonor to them. So, them singing in general, I don't think was dishonor. Maybe being forced to sing, because I definitely think Klingons don't like doing anything against their will. I have a feeling they're fiercely independent and like making their own decisions. So there is that, thinking against their will probably would get any Klingon mad. But I think the genre of music, K-pop, so popular music, which it was definitely popular. It was actually kind of jarring to see it, but I think that was kind of the point. It needed to be jarring from our perspective, so we can probably better understand why the Klingons were so willing to essentially risk war with the Federation again, simply to destroy the source of their dishonor. So they knew there was something forcing them to do it, and they were singing. And when they sung, they tried to resist in that brief scene we saw them singing, and then after the end, they're like, yeah, no. So definitely there is some dissatisfaction with either the forcing or the choice of genre. And I think it's the choice of genre because what they singing was not telling a story. It was, but not a Klingon story. And I think that is the key. Klingons like songs, in my opinion, that are about their culture. Their great heroes. Their people of legends and myth. That's what they like to sing about. And also fact too. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if songs are the main way of Klingons learning their history. And so being forced to sing a song that, one, does not tell Klingon history or does not honor Klingons in some fashion probably would be a source of dishonor to them. Especially because Klingon culture is, I believe, the etymology term, more of a face culture than a chivalry culture. I'm probably mixing up terms, but we often, I think, outside think of Klingon honor culture more like, chivalry, or I believe the term for Japanese samurai, and coming from Japanese culture was Bushido. I think I get that right. But even if I'm wrong, those kind of things like honor in combat, having honorable defeats, honorable victories, does not always appear to be the case with Klingons. Now, especially by the time of Deep Space Nine, you could say some of human honor culture has seeped into Klingon culture and influenced them. But I think that would be misleading because, one, everything in Star Trek is through the lens of humanity. All our cultures are reflecting some form of faction in Klingon culture. And Klingon culture definitely displays more of the idea of, when you're dishonored, you're being shunned, you're being shamed. And I have a feeling Klingon culture is more, especially the honor culture, is more in line with those ideas than, having an honorable victory. Sure, that is a factor of it, but think of this. They're willing to use cloaked ships to attack enemies that have no chance of fighting back. Would that be considered an honorable fight? Probably not. But for Klingons, there's more honor in victory than how the victory is won. At least, initially. And at this time in the Star Trek franchise, definitely. So the idea of it's a genre of music that is not Klingon and it's being forced on them is why the Klingons found it dishonorable. Not because they were singing, but because they were singing against their will in a genre they do not like. And that is not of their culture. Now, if this happens to Deep Space Nine Klingons, I think we will have a much more interesting look at it and maybe a sense of how Klingon culture has changed over the years. Though we do know in Deep Space Nine, Klingon culture is starting to, has been stagnating for a long time now. And maybe it's the idea that anything that's not Klingon, they shun. It's a possibility. But that's my look in Klingon culture and music. And music, like I said earlier, is a big part of culture. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear your thoughts on this subject in the comment section down below. I hope to be doing more commentary videos like this that's delving more into lore and analyzing things I don't do as often as I would like, but I will hope to do some more of that stuff in the future. So any Star Wars, Star Trek, or any other thing I've covered on the channel you want to see me do more commentary lore videos, let me know in the comment section down below with your ideas. I would love to get some more going. But that's pretty much all I have for you today, so thank you for watching. Like I said earlier, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Feel free to check out any links in the description down below. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. Live long and prosper.